Disney. Yes, the animation here is amazing and lifelike, but the rest of the movie is an obvious Seussian cartoon, so why are you acting all Lion King on my ass here? Nature builds the best Rube Goldberg machines, huh? Except it's highly unlikely that water would have enough weight to knock off that spiky ball, or that the ball with built-in spike brakes would have even rolled a foot or so without stopping, or that there would be a mushroom forest cave under this crack, or that it would roll up this pretty steep hill. Rube Goldberg. More like bullshit. If you ask me. Also, there's a full 3 minutes of these opening credits in an 80-minute movie. That's like 4% of the movie. It's like they were trying to stretch a 2,000-word kids book into a feature film or something. Never in the history of the world has there been a field with this many dandelions and only dandelions. But cute story, bro. Movie goes full Marble Madness inside the first 2 minutes. How does an airy puffball flower thing touch down on water but then take back off into the air as though water doesn't weigh anything? We're all aware that elephant ears are made of basically the same material as latex, but elephants don't need swim caps, so this is purely performative. Cartoon physics gonna cartoon physics and all, but I googled how much force it would take to launch an elephant 100 feet into the air, and Google just returned a result of, you're that Jeremy guy from CinemaSins, aren't you? F*** off.
On the 15th of May.
Narration. And you might say, yeah, but it's Seuss, you have to hear the rhymes. And to that I say, then read the books, Mr. Book Guy, this is a movie. The Eustachian conveyance fallacy. No, they're on me! This slapstick's on for some time. Like the whole movie. Leafbug survives this. And this.
And that's why my Rudy is pouch-schooled.
Homeschool jokes in the house, yo.
Or even a family. It just might be so. A family with children just starting to grow.
Whew, glad Horton thought they might have kids and decided to act. Imagine saving someone without kids. Maybe Seuss needs to write another book about how a person's a person no matter how reproductive.
Katie, you're in charge.
Putting Katie in charge. Not just this one. All Katies. Never put a Katie in charge. He sucks the pond water to the lowest level to let the speck keep floating, and then he spits that water out, which has to be roughly 1,000 f***ing gallons, by the way, and that water never comes down, ever. Also, dysentery. That speck was on top of his snout. Him blowing air outward should not have blown the speck away as well. Banana measuring contests. What the hell kind of sexual nightmare fuel is this? I'm not sure these primates are accurately portraying the tensile strength of unpeeled bananas. Wickersham Brothers. More like Wickersham Brothers. Oh, huh. I guess it's already there in the name. Banana in the hole! They are utterly wasting their primary food source. Bananas won't even hurt an elephant one bit. When purple monkeys go hungry, don't come crying to me for help, mister.
I feel the diplomatic process is beginning to break down.
A Henry Kissinger reference. Are you f***ing joking? Even the parents who brought their kids to this movie are too young for a Henry goddamn Kissinger reference. Okay, boomer. The perfectly timed and placed banana peels to serve as skates for all four of this elephant's feet is a big ol' you to mathematics.
If you can't see, hear, or feel something, it doesn't exist.
But he's just been insisting that he heard something. That's one of your 3 criteria. She says the jungle doesn't believe in tiny people or tolerate those who do. And I'd just like to know when that was decided. Does the jungle have a council? How often do they meet? Is Kangaroo Karen on the council, or just a loud citizen who attends council meetings and drones on at the mic because she has a god complex?
Our community has standards, Horton. If you want to remain a part of it, I recommend you follow them.
HOAs! You're not the pool police, Caden.
Your ears must be tiny. I need to speak up.
If their ears are tiny, as they are, you actually need to speak lower, but go ahead and send a screech hurricane over to deafen their small civilization. This Who-Men centipede stroller is all the nonsense, even if you did trust your stroller-sized children to push your other children. They have progressively fewer wheels, meaning your smallest child is being held up by but a single shaky wheel that is somehow staying balanced by a preschooler. Queuing this closely together.
A town known as Whoville.
The f***? Seuss is double dipping on the Whovilles? What kind of a terrible game is this? Even if you can figure out the rules, why would you build an elevated court with no out of bounds? This guarantees you lose several balls every point. This is a game invented by tennis ball manufacturers.
The mayor and his wife, they had children to spare. 96 daughters, some here and some there.
This contraption would not fit in this house. Also, how is this shifting seat arrangement practical? Even if you wanted to spend a few seconds with each child, wouldn't it make more sense if the parent chair is moved around the table as opposed to each girl not even getting a chance to eat the delicious food you've obviously had the team of Oompa Loompas you imprison in your basement prepare? Also, there are barely 70 daughters here, if we're being generous. So what have you done with the other 26 or so? This mayor's house gets creepier by the second. Triple also, the mayor of Whoville has 96 daughters, and even Nick Cannon isn't sure how that math works out. What the f***? Quad also! Look, do you want to make Green Eggs and Ham or The Grinch Who Stole Christmas? Because you already made those, and this is starting to feel really derivative. Why are they now on stools instead of high-back chairs? How is this rope passing through the stools? Why is there only a single small trash can in this room when a family of 100 is eating breakfast? Make it stop!
And who was the oldest to lead and stand tall? It was Jojo, his son, the smallest Who of all.
First, I saw at least a dozen smaller Whos on that amazing Whoville oneer you transitioned us with. Second, sure, he's in line to lead because he's the oldest. Just a coincidence that he's your only son amongst 97 children, and that has nothing to do with the fact that in 100 years, movies still haven't stopped trying to deal with their daddy issues.
Why didn't he speak? Well, I think...
I don't care what you think. Stop spelling out character motivations with narration and let the characters reveal themselves by choices. Show, don't rhyme, is how I'm pretty sure the saying goes.
Just look at the men and women hanging on these walls.
Deifying your ancestors. Now there are only pictures in my head. This hallway would not fit in this house.
I see what's going on here.
A lengthy scene with no plot development to introduce an unneeded comic relief sidekick character because you're trying to turn a 5-minute book into a feature-length movie? Yeah, I see it too. Someone who is terrible at secrets is asked to keep a secret, then they spill the secret immediately. Cliché.
These luxury condos, they don't build themselves. Hey, look at that! I guess they do build themselves.
Creationism versus evolutionism debates.
We're all very busy with the Who Centennial coming up.
The Who Centennial? Celebrating 100 years of what exactly? You just got through saying that nothing has ever gone wrong in Whoville, and your hallway shows millennia of ancestry. What happened 100 years ago that supposedly launched this new era? Judges having a smiley face button, and that button controlling a temporary glass casing surrounding all the main court participants. Judges having buttons at all! If they are encased in glass, then where did the easel, the donkey painting, and the pointer all come from?
Well, then, Whoville's us back.
Right, okay.
I get that we are tediously suspending our disbelief that the random convenient Victrola horn is transferring Horton's words to the mayor. But how are the mayor's words now crystal clear to Horton as well?
Light!
Dark light, dark light, dark light.
Fine, hilarious. I'm laughing on the inside, I swear, but the only time Horton's actions impact Whoville are when the movie wants to draw the connection, and selective physics may be even more annoying than a complete lack of physics. This society has people-based pneumatic tubes, and the movie just glosses over it. Honestly, if you store this caustic of an acid in a bottle without a lid, that's kind of on you. His elbow falls into the acid, but suffers no consequences.
Our world would be destroyed.
Great work by this kernel of popcorn here with the dramatic timing. Its years at Juilliard are finally paying off. Also, this sheet clearly contains random characters until the second paragraph, at which point it says, Clerk Maxwellies, which Othe machines ranging fromog nectiles verity. And that's about as coherent as the rest of the movie, so I guess that tracks.
Here's a good spot.
From miles away, Horton spots a sunflower in a cave on top of a mountain. Even if you allow for the zoom and enhanciness, you can't see inside an elevated mountain cave from the bottom of the mountain. That's like mountain cave spotting 101 stuff.
And it's then Horton saw at the top of Mount Newell.
So he wants to make them safe by placing their speck flower at the top of a mountain, but wouldn't the elevation change be devastating to this culture?
Mr. Mayor!
Oh, shiny.
But why is he hiding it? That's your own proof you're hiding.
You know, sticking Who in front of everything doesn't make it hurt less.
The mayor of Whoville would be Who excellent at Who Sits. Whovie has time for this.
In my world, everyone's a pony.
Bronies. Kicking children.
It's good!
When and where did this, I'm gonna go with orange striped tit nose fur hippo child learn about field goals?
You just crossed the line, Horton, and I'm gonna make you pay.
This entire bridge dentist sequence is hilarious. I don't care what you say. I'm taking a sit off. Why is he aiming this needle toward the back of the throat? Is he aiming for the gums or the throat? This elephant packet dirking is just more proof that this movie is more filler than actual movie. Did movie just insinuate that he fixed an issue caused by a numbing drug with brute force? Movie doesn't know how to Novocaine correctly.
A beautiful wife, 96 daughters, and 1 son.
Oh, busy guy.
You mean because he's always f***ing? I feel like you're saying he f***s a lot, and honestly, Horton, grow up.
Then we all share one bathroom.
In a house with this hallway. This bedroom would not fit in this house. Also, at least 43% of these children would die if this was the actual sleeping arrangement. I fell off the top bunk at least a dozen times as a kid, and I had a guardrail.
Can I have a glass of water?
Of course.
Me 3.
litters. Stressed out, all his kids want water mayor dad guy should maybe think about using a condom, at least if he wants to groan here and expect any sympathy from me, the viewer. These 2 cups. I'm not drinking water you delivered to me with your foot, and take your stinking foot paws off me, you damn dirty who. This sequence of him casually going up to the highest heights is kind of long, and I wish it were faster.
I prefer not to get my hands dirty, but I hear you have no problem with that.
No. No problem.
Or hands to even get dirty, for that matter. Shouldn't he have wrapped his trunk around the puffball with the speck? It's all alone out here by itself on what appears to be an actual funeral pyre waiting to be lit. It's all twigs!
I think I know what your problem is.
And just like that, flash flooding drowned every who alive, and Horton's genocidal morning breath haunted him the rest of his life. New from director David Fincher comes the true story of
Morton!
Mr. Morton is the subject of my sentence, and what the predicate says, he does.
And an elephant's faithful 100%.
That's not what I heard. Word is elephant males get down with as many females as they can, so I'm guessing you've been out trunk dunking all over the herd. Just a pachyderm out packing sperm, as the old saying goes.
I've been called a boob several times.
My college girlfriend's left breast said this to me once during a bad acid trip, and I never recovered. Suddenly, after Bad Vlad shows up, Horton's running and jostling makes Whoville shake like hell, despite the fact that we've seen Horton run, jump, skip, and hop without Whoville being affected. Point is, movie continues picking and choosing. Come on. Why would your gravity be affected by just this and not the hundreds of other times he's been swinging you around? Damn it! I know I've already sinned this, but the selective world impact is happening so much it deserved another 30 cents.
Now it's time for me to take Clover.
But first, I will monologue, as is the tradition of my villainous people.
I can prove it! Horton's voice comes out of this horn!
I swear the biggest sin of this movie is that Mayor of Leestown here took this long just to have someone else listen to Horton. They've apparently set up easy enough communication that they can chat whenever, and this would be the first thing you would show anyone who asked. You've had hard evidence and hidden it the whole time? The whole time!
I know!
But wouldn't you hear Vlad's maniacal laugh? And for that matter, you just went from 0 to held upside down at vulture speed in 1 second flat, but that does nothing? Sudden convenient million-acre Cloverfield is sudden, convenient, and a million acres. Also, Cloverfield movies. Also, whatever happened to eating it, regurgitating it, and eating it again like you said you would? Instead, you just take it to another location like some sort of carrion pigeon? I'd give all the sins back if this veered into psychological horror here and suggested every single Clover had a city of tiny people on it, like some multiverse of Who madness.
Clover by clover by clover, he found that the one that he sought for was just not around.
As if it would even still be on the same clover. The last time Whoville went for a trip, it was because it got knocked off when a flower bent slightly. But through all this action, the speck has stayed glued to the same clover? This is just illogical. Look how far away he is from wherever that cliff was where Vlad dropped the clover. It's a f***ing clover. It dropped. It would not be a mile away, you jackass.
For this was the hour. Horton had found them on the 3 millionth flower.
If Horton picked 1 flower per second without any kind of break for food, sleep, drink, or elephant adultery, he would have been picking for over a month to get his 3 millionth flower. So, bull, elephant,
And we will put us back on Mount Noor before the end of this decade.
Kids dig the JFK humor, sure, but if you're going for it, how do you miss the distinct Kennedy decade pronunciation? It's like the whole point of doing the impersonation in the first place.
I just saw Horton and he is still talking to that Clover!
I just happened to be in the area dozens of miles from here and then got all the way back here immediately to progress the plot. I mean, bring you the news.
He makes them question authority.
Horton must pay!
It's that speck!
We have to do something!
For the children!
You know one thing Horton's not hearing in this movie? Nuance.
Burn that speck in a pot of boiling bees, all that oil!
It's about time I start singing the Wickersham Brothers song in my head and chanting boil that dust speck, boil, boil. Which reminds me, Chuck Jones did this entire story in 25 minutes perfectly 50 years ago. And this movie can go f*** itself and the superfluous horse it rode in on.
This will teach you not to make up stories about people on specks!
It's tempting to sin her for being this mad about something so stupid, but I lived through the last few years, so the sin is for the last few years.
Jojo! You built this?
Indeed, and in the short time he's had, and despite several major earthquakes and environmental disasters, and with no help and never telling anyone, and you get the point. So ultimately, the moral of the story is to scream as loud as possible until you are acknowledged. Not sure I like it.
Well done, son.
Well done, Hollywood. You managed to take a short story about sticking up for the disenfranchised and somehow make it about how boys crave love from their fathers. Not even mad. I'm actually impressed.
I have so many people to thank. The good people of Newell.
Why is he giving an awards acceptance speech? Not gonna play it, but these two are now harmonizing without even using the horn, and I'm beginning to think this movie is playing a little loose with reality.
My eyes, the goggles do nothing.